You know the old saying, oh, it's smiles per gallon that counts? Well, tell that to my mate James, who's just done 2,017 miles in a Focus RS from the northeast of England to Leger and back. He was only back a day and he sold his car. I mean, it was mainly down to the horrendously hard seats, exhaust drone and rigid dampers that made his journey so bad that he decided to sell up, but the massive hit on his wallet was the last straw. 28 mile a gallon he averaged, Ford claimed 36. Righto. That got me thinking, I've never really done a long trip in this. Well, one that didn't involve me pressing the loud pedal all the time anyway. So I thought, you know what, why don't I make the most boring video I can think of and do a real world hypermile test on the 140. I mean, I was heading down south to a car meet anyway, so why not film it, right? So that's what me and Glenn in his M2 competition did. Consider this a duel between the B58 and the S55. Buckle up then, because this one's going to be just as boring for me to make as it is for you watching. I've got 7 hours of footage to edit into about 6 or 7 minutes. Let's do it. Right, so just imagine a world where you have to eke out every single mile you can from a tank because a bunch of virgins are buying all the petrol. Oh wait, that actually happened, didn't it? Yeah, while I was recording this video. So coincidentally, driving eco was something I kind of had to do, otherwise I'd have been sat in a Shell garage on the motorway for 45 minutes or whatever. The plan was to fill up at a fairly remote petrol station before heading on down to Caffeine and Machine for a meet and then driving back again. A journey that's just over 400 miles. Theoretically, I should make it. The M140i's claimed MPG is 39.8, but since I bought the car, I've been averaging about 27. One, because there were like 30 roundabouts and speed bumps in my 20-minute journey to work, and two, well, I just like the sound of it when it goes whop. At 27 miles per gallon, I'd be about 60 miles short, so I'll have to drive like a proper grandma to do the trip there and back in a Wanner, if that really is all I can get. But before we set off, it's that part of the video where I remind you about the monthly giveaway that I've started doing on this channel. I've partnered up with DOOZYCARCARE to give away 2 bottles of detailing products every month. All you need to do to enter is leave me a comment down below. Feel free to like and subscribe as well while you're at it, but to enter the giveaway, just drop me something in the comments on any video that I upload throughout October and a random winner will be chosen at the end of the month. Good luck. Back to the reason that you're here then. Considering there were nationwide shortages, apparently, and queues for fuel all over the country, I found a Shell garage where I didn't even have to wait. So I brimmed it right to the top with e-power before meeting up with Glenn in his M2 comp and giving him a walkie-talkie so we could chat shit about every Ford driver that we went past on the way down. I'm only joking. Right, so we're here. Just reset my trip computer. Average MPG. My vehicle, Glenn's off. I'll have to do it quick. Trip computer, reset automatically, reset, okie dokie. Right, let's do this shit. 3.5 hours, let's go. So like I said then, 3.5 hours down for the first stint. Now, if you're familiar with BMWs, you'll know that the 1 Series came with an Eco setting, as well as Comfort, Sport and Sport Plus. I'm not going to be using that. I never do, and I wanted this video to represent how I, and what I reckon most other owners, drive these cars like on a long journey, which is just in comfort mode. Why the hell they even bothered fitting this Eco Pro crap to the 140 is a complete mystery to me. There are some benefits, I suppose. It gives you tips on how to drive in a more eco fashion by scanning the road ahead on the nav and letting you know when to lift and coast if you don't know how to think for yourself. But it also shuts the engine off if you're coasting for a while, which I really don't agree with, and it affects the throttle input to make sure you don't accelerate too hard as well. Not a fan. Feels like you're running on 4 cylinders, and if I wanted that, I'd have bought a new M135i. After a quick blast over a few B roads, we joined the dual carriageway and I stuck the limiter on at 70, sat back and got comfy for the next 400 miles. As far as I'm aware, when you're sat at 70 miles an hour, it's no more economical having it in the eco mode anyway. Even in comfort and sport, it sits at the same RPM in 8th gear. No idea what the difference is between the auto and the manual, but I can't imagine it being massive, to be honest. About 1 hour into the journey, it started to rain. Not ideal when you go into a car meet, but we powered on through with some banging tunes, and I noticed that you can't really drive anywhere in this thing now it's wrapped without it turning heads, which is a good thing I suppose. Just wish they didn't catch me while I was bobbing my head about to Red Hot Chili Peppers. But me and Glenn had a pretty good run down so far. There were some vegans lying down on the other side of the road at some point, but for us we were racking up the miles no bother, and I kind of had an idea of what MPG I was going to be getting on this trip. What MPG you been getting? Have you like set your trip computer for the hour that we've been driving?
Yeah, 39.7.
Ooh, I'm beating you. 45.7. Considering I'm now mapped and making more power than a standard M2 competition, I was surprised that the B58 was still more economical, by a decent amount as well really. Even though the cars didn't need any fuel, we did, so we stopped at Burger King and then cracked on again. It is incredible how comfy not just M-Lights but all M cars seem to be on long journeys. Going back to what I was saying about the Focus RS at the beginning, yeah, they're definitely the better car to have a blast over the moors in. But as a daily or grand tourer for long trips like this, you can't go wrong with one of these. Power on tap, comfy seats, plenty of room front and back, and it doesn't make your ears bleed. Anyway, after Glenn had closed his fuel cap, which had been open the full way down, we eventually got to the halfway point at Caffeine and Machine. I highly recommend making the trip down if you haven't been before. If you want to see what turned up when I was there, then go have a look at my last video that I uploaded. But 7 PM came around far too quickly and they kicked us out ready for the next wave of cars to come in. The journey back was the same again, obviously, another 200 miles in about 3 and a bit hours. Looking at my fuel gauge, I should make it quite comfortably really, since I had just under 3/4 of a tank, but over in the M2 Comp, things were a little bit tighter. Even if I did stick a GoPro in there to see how he was getting on, you just wouldn't be able to see since it got dark about 10 minutes into the journey home, so I guess you'll have to join me the next morning when the sun came back out to play. Right, so here's the thing, as I rolled up to the Shell garage my fuel light popped on, which was ideal. The trip computer was saying I'd done 401 miles and I had 49 miles left in the tank, and I'd done 44.2 miles per gallon. Now I wanted to work out what MPG I'd been getting for myself, and to do that I needed to brim my tank again. But since all these OAPs had been filling up 8 jerry cans all week because of the apparent shortage that we were having, they had to put a £30 limit on fuel. Cheers Doris, I don't have enough petrol to last me a week of commuting to and from work now, but at least you've got enough to get you to the garden centre you visit once a week 2 miles down the road. Dickhead. Anyway, to get around this, I drove as normal for the next few days, and when the dash indicated that I had 49 miles left on the tank, I filled up. Absolutely genius, I know. So here is the boring bit that you've all been waiting for. BMW claimed I should get 39.8 miles per gallon. The trip computer showed that I was getting 44.2 miles per gallon, and once I'd filled up again with a full tank, the actual MPG I got was 43.26. So better than BMW claim, but not quite as good as what it shows on the display. Glenn on the other hand had just made it home on fumes. He'd averaged 39.8 MPG, so couldn't quite break 40. But considering both cars are over 410 brake horsepower, it is mental they can cruise and get such decent mileage anyway. And that's it. You'll be able to sleep a little bit better knowing that now, won't you? Remember to drop a comment down below to enter the giveaway, like the video if you found it useful or somehow enjoyed it, and there are plenty more to come so you can always stick around and subscribe if you want. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!